Welcome back, class. Now we've had our conversation about the problem of evil. Let's talk about the doctrine of angels. And here we will talk about good and evil angels, or as others have referred to them, elect angels and reprobate angels. So good angels. Good angels. The terminology, first of all, for the word angel, in both Greek and Hebrew, the term simply means messenger. It means messenger. Other terms that are used for angels, they're called holy ones, they're called watchers. Collectively, they are called the council and the assembly and the hosts or host, and spirits and principalities, powers, thrones, dominions, authorities. The word archangel appears twice, once in 1 Thessalonians and once in Jude. And so these are our basic terminologies. What is their origin, their nature, and their status? Well, Psalm 148 verses 2 and 5 teach us that angels are created beings. They are not eternal like God is. They are created beings. Hebrews 1:14 teaches that they are spiritual beings, and Hebrews 1:5 through 2:9 teaches us that they are not to be worshipped. They are not to be bowed to, they are not to be worshipped, anything like that. The number of angels is unknown, but certainly numbers in the many thousands and thousands. And so there's a vast host of them. What are their capacities and powers? Well, they are personal. They have intelligence and they have will. We know this from specific angels appearing to specific persons in both the Old and New Testaments. They are moral creatures. Some are holy and others are fallen. They have superhuman knowledge, but they are not omniscient. They don't know everything. Their power is great but limited according to the will of God. Their activities, they praise and glorify God. They communicate God's message to humans. They minister to believers. They carry out God's justice, and they will have a role in the second coming of Christ. So, evil angels. This deals with the question of the origin of demons. These were created by God as good, but they fell through rebellion. The chief of demons is referred to as the devil, Satan, Beelzebub, the enemy, the evil one, Belial, adversary, deceiver, great dragon, father of lies, murderer, sinner. These are all titles used to refer to the chief of demons. He opposes the work of God, especially by tempting humans. Deception is his primary tool. But we need to remember that Satan's power is limited. If you look in the book of Job, Satan can't do anything that God does not permit him to do. In the words of one evangelist, Chuck Swindoll, Satan is God's lackey. He can only do what God will allow him to do. So what are the activities of demons? Well, they engage in temptation and deception. The Bible tells us that they sometimes inflict diseases. They oppose the spiritual progress of God's people. And so they seek to hold us back. What about demon possession? Is demon possession a real thing? What are we to make of it? Well, there are certain physical characteristics of demon possession that make it look very much like what we would call today insanity. There are behavioral characteristics. We see in the New Testament that demon-possessed people exhibited unusual strength, that oftentimes they had self-destructive behavior patterns, these sorts of things. Demon possession always results in the attempted destruction of the person possessed. Not all diseases are to be attributed to demon possessions. And in the New Testament, exorcisms are always associated with commands and prayers. And if you study other cultures, demon possessions are still reported, especially in cultures where the gospel has not made great inroads. I had a college roommate who grew up in Equatorial Africa, And he said, if you don't believe in demon possession, you need to go to Africa. I had a friend who grew up in Singapore. He said the same thing. You need to go to some of these other countries where the gospel is not strong. If you don't believe in demon possession, go to some of these other places and you will see it. So demons are out there. Possession is real. These things are real. But they are under God's control. So what is the role then of the doctrine of angels generally? Well, knowing that there are good angels who look out for us, who minister to us, who deliver God's message to us, the doctrine of angels is a source of comfort for us, to reassure us of God's providential care. The angels serve as examples of proper praise and worship. If we look in the book of Revelation at how the heavenly court worships God, they show us an example of proper praise and worship. They are a sobering reminder that we should remember that not even angels, who were once closest to God, were able to avoid falling into sin. So no matter how well you think you're doing, always remember that temptation can get you. This knowledge helps us to understand how the enemy attacks us. He attacks through pride and temptation and deception. And there is confidence in knowing that Satan is limited by God's permissive will, and he cannot do more than God will allow.